We are the Academic Distinction Fund, and I am the Executive Director of the Academic Distinction Fund, and we're in business within the Baton Rouge community as a public education fund to find and incorporate innovative practices and creative practices by teachers directly in the classrooms in order to improve children's learning outcomes. And this year, and for the next few years, we are focusing on pre-kindergarten, getting children ready to learn by kindergarten and first grade. And I think the very important part of who we are and what we do is collaboration. ADF is very well blessed to have the collaboration of the nonprofit sector, the private sector, corporations, in addition to the Baton Rouge school system and other schools that are coming on board, such as our charter schools, the new schools for Baton Rouge, the Achievement Zone, and others that are really in line with what we do, providing innovative and creative practices to improve children's learning outcomes. And the best way to do that is through collaboration.
What are we doing here today?
Well, today is a very important day, and it is a time in which we're looking at another factor that's so important in getting children ready to learn and getting them from pre-kindergarten to kindergarten and first grade, and that is that we have an international expert, Dr. Sonayia, with us today to talk about how to keep children safe. How to keep them safe in general, how to keep them safe in their classrooms, and how to keep them safe in their schools. Now, she's not going to talk much about shooters and security and all of that. She's going to focus on the classroom and the school environment, the measures and the steps that schools need to take to keep children safe in their classrooms, everything from, the altercations that go on between parents and teachers and sometimes students and teachers. I think it's an important point for us to remember that most of our children are kept safe on a day-to-day basis. But then we have that small minority of students that have an opportunity, which we certainly don't like, but they are confronted with something that's unsafe in the school. But most of our children are kept safe. And so what Dr. Shepard is going to talk about is those aberrant situations, the ones we don't expect, such as perhaps a fighting in the school, which, God forbid, a shooting in the school, or some other occurrence in which children's safety is compromised. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, we welcome you to the Academic Distinction Fund Distinguished Speakers Series. I'm Dr. Martis Jones, the Executive Director of the Academic Distinction Fund, endeared to many as ADF. We really welcome you back, and I've had an opportunity to talk with a few of you who have attended every DSS session over the past 12 months. And so we thank you for the support, but even more so for putting the information that you learn to work and to use wherever you work, and particularly where you work with children. As you know, ADF collaborates and works with our community, our school board, with the public sector, the private sector, and across this community in order to improve learning outcomes of our children. And we are focusing on early childhood education. We are dedicated to early childhood education. And so in our Distinguished Speakers Series, we do bring in our scholars and experts and subject matter experts who have their boots on the ground and they know what it takes to get children ready to learn in kindergarten and first grade. I want to bring our attention to the folders. A lot of work goes into preparing these folders, but you have the information that you need for today's session, and in addition to information on our distinguished speaker and her organization, I want to also bring your attention to the important evaluation form. You all are just so excellent in filling out these evaluation forms. Our rate is about 55%. I'd like for it to be 100% of those of you who fill these out, because we do take your information seriously. We do know the venues we're not supposed to go. We know the topics that you're interested in, and we know the areas where we can improve. So do take time to not only fill out your evaluation forms, also turn those in at the end of the session. Also in your packet, you will see information about the September session that's coming up with Dr. Ellen Galinsky on Parents as Partners, and in the session that we had in February, you all got interested in executive functioning, and so she will talk about that. And then, of course, some of you have stopped at the back table. This is the first, so just take a minute and ask for our ADF board member. And I know that Barbara Freiberg did stand able to provide to this community and even across the state. We have those who come from the Monroe area and Shreveport and Lake Charles and other areas across the state to learn about these topics and then to take the information back with them and use it. And we can only do that through the generous support of our presenting sponsor, our lead sponsor, ExxonMobil. Will our ExxonMobil representatives please stand as well? And we have a tremendous volunteer staff out front. And well, we have a tremendous program here today with our distinguished speaker who will be introduced to you in a minute. But one of the things that we emphasize in our Distinguished Speakers series is that you come, you learn new information, you get confirmation on the skills and information that you know already, and that you're able to go back home to your workplace or place where you impact children and put the information to use to make a difference and to help improve the learning outcomes of our children. And so at this time, I would like to bring our attention to Ken Miller, who is the engineering manager with ExxonMobil, who will introduce our distinguished speaker today. Ken?
Thank you, Dr. Jones. And again, my name's Ken Miller. I'm the engineering manager for the ExxonMobil facilities here in Baton Rouge. As many of you know, our company is very involved in education outreach, and sponsoring today's early childhood education lecture is something we're very proud to be able to do. ADF brings free education to our educators, and we're proud to be a part of it. Our partnership with ADF is one element of a broad effort we have to support education in the local community. As a way to expand our ongoing efforts, we recently announced funding for the ExxonMobil North Baton Rouge STEM initiative. This was a $450,000 grant to improve science, technology, engineering, and math education in North Baton Rouge. It's a 3-year commitment to support local teachers and students through several established organizations working together to strengthen schools in the local area. You may have noticed some of our employees in the back. Dr. Jones referred to all of the volunteers tonight. Those are the ones back there in the red shirts. Besides financially supporting education, these and many more of our dedicated employees have been working in classrooms across the North Baton Rouge area for more than 20 years. They know just how to get kids engaged and teach them that math, science, and engineering can be a lot of fun. In our community efforts, we focus mostly on education, but in my day-to-day activities, our primary focus is on safety. The safety of our employees, our contractors, and our neighbors is ExxonMobil's #1 priority. So in keeping with that priority, today I have the pleasure of introducing our distinguished speaker, who's an international expert on safety in our schools. Dr. Sonayia Shepard is the Chief Operating Officer for Safe Havens International, the world's leading safety center focused on helping our schools improve safety and emergency preparedness. For more than 10 years, their experts on school safety have worked in more than 24 countries developing crisis management plans and emphasizing a community-based approach to school safety. Dr. Shepard has authored and co-authored 16 books on school safety and emergency management. Today, Dr. Shepard will talk to us about making safety a priority in early childhood environments. She will examine the key role of education, public safety, and emergency management personnel during major events. Her presentation will help prepare school and community partner agency personnel to deliver effective response and emotional recovery services in the event of disasters. So without further delay, I present to you Dr. Shepard.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome. I actually have the privilege and the honor to present for the Academic Distinction Fund, and it's such a worthy group. I do this across the globe, and I'm always excited to come to a group like this that's really dedicated to fostering learning for children, especially in the early years, because those are the important years. And so I am very much honored to be here. Thank you, Dr. Jones, for inviting me. Thank you, ExxonMobil. Wow, that's what a wonderful corporate partnership to have. So this is very exciting to be here. I'm going to talk to you all about raising test scores. I know the Academic Distinction Fund is all about helping kids prepare for school and helping them academically. So a lot of what I'm going to tell you is going to be about how to get those test scores raised because, believe it or not, safety and test scores are directly correlated. There is a direct correlation between safety and test scores. Students cannot learn if they do not feel safe. So not only am I going to give you a kind of a twofer, I'm going to tell you how to raise test scores and keep your building safe. So, you're getting 2 for 1. Oh, by the way, you can have fun here. There's no fun police here. So we're going to talk about some heavy things. So I'm going to keep it light. I, in no means, plan on imparting my knowledge as a Ph.D. up here to you. I'm going to give you statistics, but they're not going to be in a format that is Chicago style or MLA style. I am going to give it to you the way that I see it. I've been doing this for 15 years. I do disaster response in my day job. I am part of the Center of Disease Control's International Disaster Response Team. So usually when I go out, something bad's happened. So I don't get to see smiling faces. So guess what I like to see? Smiling face. Oh, you look at that. You guys can do it. Excellent. Come on, I'm in Louisiana. I had crawfish. I'm a happy camper. So, somebody told me to suck the head off, and I did. I did that. It was good. I enjoyed it. So we're going to talk about safety. I'm actually going to come out off of the podium because this is a distinguished speaker series, and so we're going to speak. Can we talk? Is that okay? So I'm going to come off of the podium and we're going to begin. By the way, this is very interactive. I'm going to use PowerPoint, video, and stories to keep you engaged. I do like to get feedback from you all simply because I'm going to give you information, but I find that the information that you give each other is valuable. You live here. If something happens to one of your schools, I'm in Atlanta, so I'm going to give you the information, but you're going to take it and you're going to apply it. So you will have the opportunity to speak as well. My message here today is really going to be about empowering everyone that works in the school community to be able to take the necessary actions to keep students safe, no matter what school you're in.
Just how serious a problem is school safety?
School safety isn't really a problem, and I think the biggest message that we want to convey is that schools, by and large, are still a safe place to be. There have been some horrific tragedies, but those are very rare occurrences. And so we want people to take a balanced approach to school safety and think of not just a shooter in a building, but think of other things that could happen. You could have bullying. You can have instances of truancy. All of these things really tie back to school safety. So we want to make sure that people are looking at it from a holistic approach.
What is your recommendations for school systems such as East Baton Rouge Parish?
My recommendation for any school is to have a complete, comprehensive safety, security, climate, and culture assessment. The only way that you can know what's going on in your school is to assess, not guess. So we want to make sure that we're assessing the school to make sure that we've got the proper policies, procedures, and protocols in place to keep everyone safe.
How can parents be involved in the process?
Parents are very much integral to the process. We need parents to make sure that their contact information is updated. Parents can help out schools, volunteer. We need things like emergency evacuation kits. What a wonderful way for parents to participate and help schools get the necessary items that they need to keep their schools safe.